It's okay. We all had to start somewhere. What's going on? It's Samantha from Lone Crow Adventures, the channel where we talk about all things camping, hiking, and backpacking. So you're getting ready for your very first camping trip, and you think that you need a lot of gear, right? Well, no, not necessarily. But there are a few things that you need to get done right to make sure that you have a good trip. And today we're going to be going through the 5 things that brand new campers need to be aware about so they can maximize the fun and success of their trip. Now, the first thing you're going to need is some type of a shelter. And for most people just starting out, this is going to be a tent. And there are a lot of different tent setups out there, and it can be really confusing. But the important things is that you make sure that the tent you select is weather appropriate, that it has the size capacity that you need, that you know how to set it up, and that once you get there, it's actually set up properly. When you buy a new tent, even if it's just a cheap tent from Walmart, it's a really good idea to go ahead and decide to set it up in the backyard before you go on your trip. So make sure that you set the tent up at home before you get to the campsite to make sure that you know how to do it. Because once you get to your campsite, it might be getting dark because a lot of people go camping and they load up the car and they drive out there after work. So you might only have a couple of hours by the time you get there to get everything set up. The other big mistake that tent campers make when they're setting up a tent, and I'm guilty of this when I first started camping, is not using a ground cloth. If there's one piece of advice that I'm going to give is that even if you just buy a cheap tarp from Walmart or Tractor Supply, go ahead and put that down on the ground and then set your tent up on top of it. Just make sure if it's going to rain that the edges of that tarp are actually smaller than the footprint of your tent. Because if the tarp hangs out on the outside of the tent's kind of sitting in the middle, the water's going to land on that tarp and then it's going to slide right underneath the tent. But the purpose of the ground tarp is really twofold. The first is to protect the tent floor against damage from rocks and debris that could be underneath of it. But the second thing is to prevent moisture from coming up through the ground and saturating the nylon on the bathtub floor of the tent. And in dry conditions, this isn't something that you have to worry about. But if you're going camping in the spring or you're expecting any amount of precipitation, even a light precipitation overnight, it becomes a concern. So do yourself a favor, buy a ground cloth. One of the best parts about camping is the food. But if you're a brand new camper, don't stress about it. Just bring simple stuff and it's going to make your trip that much easier. Even if that just means a pack of hot dogs, a pack of buns, and a ketchup and mustard around the campfire at night, and then a single pan with some bacon and eggs in it for breakfast in the morning. Keep it simple because everything that you do when you go camping is more difficult. And this includes cooking and washing dishes. So if you keep it simple, you're going to keep your fun maximized and make sure that everybody has a good time. As you get more familiar with outdoor cooking, then you can start to experiment with things. But definitely don't forget the coffee. You can get a percolator for real cheap, and you can cook that right over the open flame as long as your campsite has a grill in the fire pit. And if you don't, you can get a little 1-burner propane stove that you can cook anything on as long as you've got a pan, including your coffee. Just slap the percolator on there and you're good to go. But keep it simple. Everything when you're camping should be fun. If anything feels like it's a major, huge stress, leave it out of your system because you probably don't need it. The next thing that we should talk about is sleep. And a huge mistake I see beginner campers make is not bringing a sleeping pad with them. They think they've got their sleeping bag and maybe they'll just get a couple extra blankets and put that down on the ground and sleep on top of that. That's really, really uncomfortable. I used to do that when I was a little kid, when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I would do campouts by myself in the backyard at home. But when I actually started camping, I definitely got an air pad. And you don't need to have something that is super expensive. You can get something very inexpensive and effective. But you do want to take a look at the forecast and see what kind of temperatures you're going to be seeing at night. And if it's dipping down below 50 degrees, then you're going to want to look at something on that air pad that's called the R value, which is basically an insulation value that tells you how cold the temperature can be before you start to feel cold sleeping on that mat, or how warm that mat's going to keep you. And there's R values of different ranges, but generally for beginner campers who are just starting out, you want to look in that R value of about 2.5 to 3, which is going to give you the optimal level of insulation you need for most fair weather summertime camping. If you want to go camping a little earlier in the spring or a little later in the fall, then you're going to want to go in that 3.5 to 4.5 R value range. And when you look up a sleeping pad online, it's going to have that R value listed. If it doesn't have it listed, it means it's a garbage sleeping pad and it hasn't been tested. These all go through some rigorous tests to see actually how it will thermoconduct to allow heat to pass through it. So you definitely want to get a sleeping pad that has an R value listed. Don't just go down to like the pool store and buy an inflatable pool pad and sleep on that, because that has no insulation. It might be comfortable, but it has no insulation and you might get cold. But definitely get a sleeping pad. Water is the next thing you're going to want to take a look at if you're a beginner camper. And this is something that a lot of people don't think about. They think, well, I've got a case of water in the car, like bottled water to drink, but they don't think about all the other applications that they're going to need water for. For instance, washing up your dishes. You need to have some water for that. Putting out your campfire at the end of the night, right? Especially if it's windy. You don't want to go to sleep with a campfire burning. That the forest fire risk is just too high. So you need to have some water to be able to put on those embers to make sure that the fire's out for fire safety. And the biggest thing that I see is that new campers start out and they don't bring any kind of a receptacle with them to carry water. Now you could do this a real easy way and just bring a 5-gallon bucket with a lid, or even a kitty litter pail that has one of those lids that close down. And if you go around on the campground loop, there's usually a couple of faucets on each campground loop that has something that's called potable water, which means that it's water that is safe for people and animals to drink. So you can go ahead and fill up your bucket that way and then bring it back to the campsite, and then you've got water on hand to wash dishes and clean up with or put the fire out. The other thing that you could do if you want one step up from that is to buy something called a Reliance jug. You can get them in various different sizes. I like to use the 1.5 gallon size, and I fill this up with water, and it's got a little screw top on it with a spout that I can open and close, and this way I can empty the water into my dish pan when I'm washing dishes, and I can even turn it on just like a faucet, run my hands underneath of it and wash it. It's a super easy way to bring water to the campsite, and when I close that spigot, it's spill proof. I don't have to worry about it. Plus, the entire container collapses down at the end, so that way once it's dried, I can store it with the rest of my gear, no problem. Now, if you're camping in the off season, you're not going to have access to water. So even though on your camp loop there might be those water spigots, they could be turned off if you're camping early in the spring or late in the fall. So it's not a bad idea to call ahead at the camp office to find out what time of year they turn their water on and when they turn it off in the fall, just to make sure you're going to have access to water. And if they don't have fresh, clean water access, you're going to want to stop at the grocery store before you come out and buy several large gallon jugs of water to bring with you to have on the campsite. Or you could buy a water filter. If all else fails and you have to grab water from a lake, river, or stream, definitely boil it before you consume it, and boil it even before you use it to wash your dishes in it. Because remember, if there's E. coli in that lake, and then you put your fork in there to wash it, next time you put that fork in your mouth, guess what? E. coli. The next point for new campers that often catches them off guard is not being weather aware. You want to check that forecast before you go, and then you want to have some kind of a method to keep an eye on the weather as you go throughout your trip, even if you're just going for a couple days on the weekend. Now, most campground offices are going to have a central area where they post the weather for today, and they'll put the most up-to-date forecast there with today's weather, tonight's weather, and then maybe tomorrow and the next couple of days. And they usually update that at a specific time every day. So even if you don't have service on your phone, you can head on down to the camp office to keep an eye on the weather. Especially in the summertime, and if you're in the Midwest, those thunderstorms can whip up out of the blue all of a sudden, and they can cause a lot of damage and havoc on your campsite. When I go camping, I always like to be weather prepared, especially if it's the summertime, to prepare for inclement weather. I always bring an extra tarp in case all of a sudden we start seeing storm systems developing where there's going to be a heavy downpour. Most of the time, the rain fly that comes with your tent is going to be more than adequate to keep you dry. But every once in a while, a storm system will develop where they expect extremely heavy rainfall. And during those times, the pressure exerted by the raindrops on the tent fly can exceed the threshold, and you'll actually see the threads where that material is sewn start to drip. And that can lead to a nightmare, especially if the rain ends up being sustained overnight for a long period of time. You will wake up in a puddle. So a cheap tarp from Walmart or Tractor Supply is a great option. It's inexpensive and it doesn't take up very much room in the trunk to be able to put that over top of the tent, and having a few extra tent stakes and some extra rope to be able to make sure that it's secured is a great idea. The other thing when it comes to inclement weather, especially if you have kids, is you want to have a plan B in terms of activities to keep people entertained. Nobody wants to have a day where it's a total rain out and the kids are just sitting inside the tent staring at their phones and tablets all afternoon, complaining. You want to have a wide variety of different things, especially when they get bored. Kids get bored so easy, and you have to have so many activities planned, and the weather can just throw a monkey wrench into your plans. So definitely have a bunch of activities that are kid-friendly that you can do when the weather gets bad. This could be some card games, some board games. This could even be something like a craft, something to keep them entertained inside of the tent. And you may even want to plan to have a couple of activities that the family can go do, where everybody loads up into the car and you leave the campsite and maybe you drive around and go look at some scenic things in the area, or go to a local children's museum or some kind of attraction, just to keep those kids entertained, because it does get really boring, especially if you're camping and the whole weekend is just a washout. Definitely have a plan B. And if you're not a super experienced camper, if it's calling for just torrential downpours the whole weekend, don't be afraid to cancel your trip and postpone it until the conditions are going to improve, so that way you have a better time. If you're a beginner camper or you're just starting to get into it, nobody wants to go out and have a terrible time and end up soaking wet the whole weekend and miserable. So just plan for the weather. Hopefully it'll be good, but have a plan B just in case it's not. You don't need to have a ton of gear to go camping, but you just start with the real basics. Tent, sleeping pad, sleeping bag, pillow, something so that you can start a fire poker, some cooking equipment, a cooler, flashlight, lantern. That's about all that you need. Maybe a couple of chairs to sit in so that you don't have to sit on logs. And it's not a bad idea to bring a small hatchet or axe so that way you can split wood. But you don't need a ton of stuff to start camping. And in fact, some of the best camping trips that I've ever been on have been the trips where I have brought the most simplistic gear and the least amount of gear. Because when you start to overcomplicate it by bringing extra stuff, it becomes such an ordeal to get all that gear ready, loaded into the car, unloaded at the campsite, set up, and then 2 days later, the trip's done, you're ready to go home. You have to spend all afternoon tearing down, packing up, cleaning up, and then you got to move the stuff again once you get it back home. Some of the best trips of my life have been with the most simple gear, in the most rustic conditions, without any luxuries. And that is still how I prefer to camp today. And if you guys want to see the easiest way to wash dishes when you're camping, I want you to click right over here. I'm going to show you the setup that I use, and I know you're going to love it.